Good morning, it's February 22nd, 2022. This is To My Liberal Friends, and I'm John Haddo. I've not talked much about foreign policy in these podcasts because it's not really my area of expertise. The last time I did any serious looks at foreign policy as far as professionally was back when I worked in the Senate in the late 70s and early 80s. But what's going on in Europe today demands that we look at the whole situation and what the impact is, both in Europe and here in the United States. Vladimir Putin has declared that two eastern provinces in Ukraine are in fact independent now, and he's sent troops in to claim them for Russia. At the same time, he's made a statement to the effect that the Ukrainian government is an illegal government. It's not really a nation. It's just someone controlled by the United States out of Washington, D.C. Now, of course, in both cases, he's wrong. They're not independent provinces, but there are Russian separatists there who want to belong back to Russia. And second, Ukraine is a sovereign nation, and just because they don't want to be part of the Russian hegemony doesn't mean that they don't have their own freedom. So where are we at today? Well, and I'm going to call him Neville Biden because he looks so much like Neville Chamberlain in his reaction to Hitler taking Sudetenland. Neville Biden has said, well, a small incursion is something we can tolerate. Well, they have that small incursion, but it's going to take two provinces. And if you think Putin intends to stop there, think again. He wants to recreate the Soviet Union, and he will be looking at Kazakhstan, he'll be looking at Belarus, but first he's going to take Ukraine. And what are we going to do about it? Well, the reaction of NATO allies has been, condemning it, saying it can't be allowed, but nobody's done anything forceful. The Germans pretended like they did something by not certifying the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. This is a pipeline that comes from Russia into Germany and will deliver significant amounts of natural gas. Now, we've had concerns about this in the past simply because it forces Western Europe to rely more and more on Russian energy sources. But it's really kind of an empty thing because it wasn't ready to really be certified and operable till sometime later this year. So Germany can play that card today knowing they can withdraw it later in the future. So what does Joe Biden do? Now, he had a chance first to stop the Nord Stream 2 pipeline with an amendment in the Senate offered by, I believe it was Senator Ted Cruz, but he didn't back that, and so Democrats were able to defeat it. The other thing is, Lindsey Graham has said we need to destroy the ruble. Now there's where you can start hurting the Russians. If you start putting sanctions on them, limiting trade, forcing other Western nations to comply, then you're going to force Putin into a situation where the economy is going to turn very dark and very bleak in Russia, and people are going to be angry. But until you do that, nothing's going to really happen. And Putin feels he can keep going on over and over, do what he wants. And in Europe, they're going to see their energy prices skyrocket, and they're going to want to back away. And Putin knows this. He knows that after Afghanistan, Biden is not going to be willing to send American troops anywhere near where they might engage in combat. And I have a personal stake in this. I have a grandson who was recently deployed from Fort Bragg to Romania. So it's not just something that I'm looking at from afar. I'm looking at it from a very personal and very dire straits things for me. But Russia is the biggest supplier of gas, crude oil, and coal, and they have this sprawling delivery system, and Europe will eventually have to kowtow to this because they need the energy. And Biden seems unable to make a decision on how to confront Putin and get to the bottom of things. The bottom line on this is that Putin's not going to stop. And Biden's going to sit there twiddling his thumbs, trying to figure out, because he believes he's a foreign policy expert simply because he chaired, by longevity, the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Doesn't make you an expert on anything. I can guarantee you there are a lot of senators that think they're experts, but they're not. This has been To My Liberal Friends. Thanks for listening.